Hello students. Today let's learn module 4, chapter 15, classes and objects. So this chapter is from the second book of your syllabus. So now we are learning object oriented programming. So what is the object oriented programming is what we should know first. So, till now we have been learning procedure oriented programming languages wherein we were declaring the variables, we were defining functions and calling those functions to execute. In case of object oriented programming, we can define our own data types. Why do we need that? Is the question. Now, we have been using the variables like int, float, string, all this. So, these data types are all system defined data types, meaning what are the objects that can be represented with these data types and what operations can be performed on those data types is all defined by the system. But these int, float, string, etc. variables or data types are not sufficient for all the requirements we have. Say we want to represent the real world objects. To represent the real world objects, we need the object oriented programming concepts. What do we mean by a real world object? For example, we want to define a student. Once we say student, student has a USN, name, address, date of birth, marks, average marks, grade, class, semester, etc. everything. So we want to combine all these together into one data type. It's not possible just with the standard data types like int, float, string. So we have to combine them all and make it as one data type. And once we have these data types, we have to specify what operations we want to perform on those values. So we can define a class, a user defined data type. By saying a data type, we always mean the objects that can be represented with that type and the operations that can be performed on that type. To achieve this, we have to use the object oriented programming languages. And these object oriented programming languages has many things associated with it like class, object, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism. We're not studying all this right now. Just try to understand what is a class and what is an object right now. So class is a collection of method and variables. That is, we should be able to represent the objects and the operations that can be performed on that. And once we define a class, we can declare objects. Objects are instances of class. In simple words, you can understand it as objects are variables of class type. But remember, variable is not a term used with class. Objects are instances of class. Now let's see the example. Say we want to create or we want to represent a point. So to represent a point mathematically, we write this as in the parenthesis, we write two numbers. So if we write 0, 0 in parenthesis, it means it's the origin. And if it is some point in the space, we represent it as x comma y written in parenthesis. Now, how do we represent this real world object in the programming language? So we can represent this as two variables, x and y. But remember, these x and y are two different variables which may not be related to one another. They may be accessed independently. Or we may represent this as a tuple. You have studied what tuples are. Or the other concept is we can represent this as objects. So representing this as objects is a bit complex compared to the first two methods, but it has its own advantages which you'll be understanding later. Now the user defined data type is called a class, and a class definition looks like this. So this is a simple class definition. We write class, the keyword, point is the name we are giving to that class, and here we write the body of the class. Observe the format. We write the class, a keyword, point, the name of the class, followed by colon. Then in the next line with the tab we'll be writing the body of the class. So currently we do not have anything in it. It's just a string represents a point in 2D space. Now here the header indicates that it's a new class, name of the class is point, and this is a documentation string. And we can define the variables and methods inside the class definition. Let's do it later. Now defining a class named point creates an object. Then how do we test that? So create this class and at the command prompt write point. It will tell what type is that. So you can observe this is what is the output you get if you print at the in the IDLE. So it says class underscore underscore main underscore underscore dot point. So point is defined at the top level and its full name is this. You have seen typing some x, type of x. When you type of x, it shows if it's an integer or a string or whatever it is. So you have tried such examples. So it is similar to that. Now, once we have created an object, once we have created a class, we should be able to declare an object. Then how do we do that? It's just like calling a function. So write blank is equal to point, empty parenthesis. Now here blank is an object of the point type of class. Now type blank at the command prompt. It shows this output. What does this mean? That means blank is of this data type and it is an object stored at this location in the memory. Observe, remember when you execute this, this value will differ because this says the location where the object is the memory location that is allocated to the object blank. Now creating a new object is called instantiation and the object is called an instance of the class. So when you print an instance, Python tells what class it belongs to and where it is stored in the memory. Remember the 0x indicates that it's a hexadecimal number. Now once we have a class, we have an object also. Now how do we assign the values of x and y? We can do that by writing blank dot x is equal to 3.0, blank dot y is equal to 4.0. So this syntax is similar for selecting a variable from a module. Now we are assigning the values to the named elements of the objects and now these elements x and y are called the attributes of the object. The variable blank refers to a point object which contains two attributes x and y and each attribute refers to a floating point number because we have assigned floating point numbers. So the point we are trying to represent here is 3.0 comma 4.0 is the number is the point we are trying to represent in this attribute. Now we can read the value of an attribute using the same syntax. So you want to know what is the value, you can write blank dot y, it will show 4.0. You can type blank dot x, it will show 3.0. You can also write x is equal to blank dot x, that is the point, the value in blank dot x you are trying to assign to a variable. Now you print x, it will show 3.0. This can be any variable, this need not be x only. So, but why we have taken x here is that to show that the attribute name does not get confused with the variable name. The attribute name and the variable name can be same. But if you use x with blank, that means you are trying to access the attribute. If you just use x, you are trying to access a regular variable. So when you write this blank dot x, it means that go to the object blank and get the value of the attribute x. Similarly here, go to the object blank and get the value of the attribute y. Now we can also use the dot notation to print this. So we can write a statement like this. So this percentage d, which is a format character used for the floating point numbers in Python. So we are trying to print this. So see the format we have written. So we have written a string, that is opening a string, opening parenthesis, percentage g, comma, percentage d, close the parenthesis and a single string. Now this is what we want to print. Then in place of these format characters, we want to print the values of blank dot x and blank dot y. So when you write this statement, it will show 3.0 and 4.0. So we can use these attributes along with the object name in some mathematical expressions also. So you can see that we are trying to find a distance, and to find the distance we want to perform blank dot x square plus blank dot y square and the square root of that. That means we are invoking the square root method of the math module, and the argument we are passing is these two. Now find distance. It will show 5.0. We can also pass an instance as an argument in the usual way to a function. See that we have defined a function. So define point print p, and this is printing this point. That is, you are trying to print p dot x and p dot y. Now we have understood what this statement means. Now this is a function. So you should remember what functions are. So we have written def, a keyword to define a function. Print point is the name of the function, and we are passing p as an argument to it, and we are printing the values here. Now how do we invoke this function? We know that the functions do not get invoked on its own. We have to invoke that. So we write a statement print point blank, print point blank. So we are invoking the print point function by passing blank as an argument to it. So with this, the blank argument, that is the blank object, is carried to this location, and from this location p is another name given to blank, and it will print the values of x and y of p. So inside this function, p is an alias to blank. So whatever changes we make to p will all get reflected in the blank also. So this is a brief introduction about the attributes. Next we have to learn rectangles. We'll learn that in the next class. So till then, execute whatever statements I have shown and understand all the statements. Then in the next class, we'll take up the rectangles. Thank you.